Toronto stands as a beacon of multiculturalism, a vibrant metropolis recognized globally for its diverse culture and economic dynamism. This international reputation draws people from all corners of the world, eager to contribute to and experience its unique character. However, beneath this glittering facade lies a profound and escalating challenge, a severe housing market crisis that is reshaping the city's very identity. This issue is not merely a local concern confined to the Greater Toronto Area. It reflects a complex interplay of global economic forces and domestic policy choices. Understanding Toronto's housing predicament offers critical insights into the broader pressures facing major urban centers worldwide. It serves as a compelling case study on the delicate balance between urban growth, economic prosperity, and the fundamental right to affordable shelter. The mechanisms driving this crisis are intricate, requiring a comprehensive analysis to grasp their full scope. At the heart of Toronto's housing crisis lies a fundamental imbalance. Demand for housing far outstrips the available supply. This persistent and widening gap is the primary driver behind the city's unaffordability. The direct consequence of this scarcity is the relentless escalation of housing prices, pushing them to unprecedented and often astronomical levels. What was once considered aspirational is now frequently unattainable for a significant portion of the population. This market pressure affects both ownership and rental sectors, making secure housing increasingly precarious. A major contributor to this insatiable demand is Toronto's robust and sustained population growth. As a magnet for immigration and internal migration, the city continuously welcomes new residents, each requiring a place to live. This demographic expansion places immense strain on an already constrained housing stock. Despite the urgent need, the city's construction capacity struggles to keep pace with this influx. Various factors impede the rapid development of new housing units, exacerbating the supply deficit. This creates a bottleneck that prevents the market from naturally balancing itself through increased inventory. One of the most significant structural impediments to increasing housing supply in Toronto is its entrenched system of restrictive zoning laws. These regulations dictate not only land use, but also the type and density of construction permitted in vast areas of the city. Predominantly, single-family residential zoning dominates, effectively prohibiting the construction of multi-unit dwellings. This severely limits the ability to build much-needed apartments, townhouses, and other medium-density housing options. Such policies preserve existing low-density neighborhoods at the expense of broader housing needs. Furthermore, urban planning in Toronto has often prioritized certain aesthetic or character preservation goals over the imperative of affordability. While maintaining green spaces and architectural heritage is valuable, these priorities have sometimes inadvertently hindered the development of diverse housing forms. This approach has led to an inefficient use of developable land within the city's boundaries. The cumulative effect is a landscape where housing density remains artificially low, particularly in established areas well served by infrastructure. This lack of flexibility in urban planning exacerbates the supply shortage and entrenches high housing costs. Addressing this fundamental constraint is crucial for any meaningful improvement in housing affordability. Another critical factor fueling Toronto's housing crisis is the ever-widening disparity between income levels and the escalating cost of living. While Toronto is a hub of economic activity, wage growth for many residents has simply not kept pace with inflation, particularly in housing. Even individuals earning substantial above-average incomes now find themselves struggling to comfortably afford necessities within the city. The sheer expense of rent or mortgage payments consumes a disproportionate share of monthly earnings. This leaves less discretionary income for other essential expenditures. For a growing segment of the population, the quintessential dream of homeownership has become an increasingly distant and unattainable aspiration. The financial barriers to entry, including soaring down payments and restrictive mortgage qualifications, are simply too high. This reality forces many into a perpetual rental cycle with limited avenues for wealth accumulation through property. This economic pressure extends beyond housing, impacting overall financial stability and quality of life. The increasing cost of living relative to stagnant wages creates significant financial strain for individuals and families. It undermines economic mobility and contributes to widespread economic anxiety. Beyond direct housing costs, Toronto residents face a significant financial burden from a variety of taxes and everyday expenses. Property taxes, while funding essential city services, represent a substantial ongoing financial commitment for homeowners. These taxes contribute to the overall cost of homeownership, further squeezing budgets. The cost of basic necessities, particularly groceries, is notably high in Toronto compared to many other major cities. This impacts every household, regardless of income, making daily existence more expensive. Similarly, the expense of transportation, whether through public transit fares or vehicle ownership, adds another layer to the financial strain. Simply existing in Toronto has become an exceptionally costly endeavor, extending far beyond the price of shelter. The cumulative effect of these expenses creates a major drain on household budgets. This leaves little room for savings or discretionary spending, especially after housing costs are factored in. This high cost of living erodes purchasing power and significantly affects the quality of life for residents. It makes it harder for individuals and families to thrive, contributing to financial precarity. The financial pressures from taxes and everyday expenses exacerbate the housing affordability crisis. Toronto's rapid growth has unfortunately not been matched by a commensurate expansion and modernization of its infrastructure, particularly its transportation systems. The city's transit network, while extensive in parts, often proves inefficient and overburdened for the demands placed upon it. This inefficiency translates into long, often arduous commutes for countless residents traveling across the sprawling metropolitan area. Crowded subways, buses, and streetcars are a daily reality, making journeys uncomfortable and time-consuming. These commutes are not merely inconvenient. They represent a significant drain on personal time. The hours spent navigating the city's congested arteries or waiting for delayed transit could otherwise be dedicated to work, family, or leisure. This wasted time diminishes the overall quality of life for residents. It contributes to stress and reduces personal productivity. Furthermore, inadequate transportation infrastructure can limit access to employment opportunities and essential services. It effectively reduces the practical radius in which people can afford to live. This pressure contributes to housing demand in central, well-connected areas, driving prices even higher. Addressing these infrastructure deficiencies is crucial for improving both livability and affordability. Toronto's status as a premier global city and a highly desirable tourist destination inadvertently contributes to its housing challenges. The city's vibrant cultural scene, economic opportunities, and diverse offerings attract millions of visitors annually. This popularity, while beneficial for the economy, also increases demand on resources. The city's reputation as a stable and prosperous global hub makes it an attractive destination for international investors and buyers. These individuals often view Toronto real estate as a secure asset for investment, not just a primary residence. This influx of capital from outside the local market drives up prices. International demand often operates independently of local income levels and affordability constraints. It introduces a competitive element that local residents earning Canadian wages frequently cannot match. This creates a two-tiered market where domestic buyers are at a disadvantage. The cumulative effect of tourism and global investment further inflates housing prices, making it increasingly difficult for average residents to compete. It transforms housing from a fundamental necessity into a speculative asset. This dynamic profoundly impacts the local housing market and the city's social fabric. The high cost of living in Toronto extends its reach beyond financial statements, permeating the daily lives of residents. This pervasive expense generates significant stress and anxiety across all income brackets. The constant pressure of escalating costs creates a tangible sense of financial insecurity. Even individuals with substantial financial resources, who might be considered affluent by national standards, find themselves affected. The relentless pursuit of a comfortable existence in Toronto often requires extraordinary financial commitment. This can lead to a perceived dilution of their wealth's purchasing power. In Toronto, a high income does not automatically translate into a correspondingly high quality of life, especially concerning housing. The expenses associated with living in the city can negate many of the advantages traditionally associated with financial prosperity. This challenges conventional notions of wealth and comfort. The psychological toll of this financial pressure is considerable, impacting mental health and overall well-being. It underscores that true comfort in an urban environment encompasses more than just income. It requires a balanced relationship between earnings and the practical cost of living. The housing crisis in Toronto is not an isolated phenomenon. Its effects ripple outwards, impacting every facet of the city. Economically, businesses struggle to attract and retain talent, as prospective employees balk at the prohibitive cost of living. This can hinder economic growth and innovation. Socially, the crisis strains the very fabric of Toronto's communities. The threat of displacement and the accelerating pace of gentrification alter neighborhood demographics. It erodes the long-standing character and diversity that define the city. This widespread impact poses a significant threat to Toronto's future as an inclusive and thriving global city. If only the wealthiest can afford to live there, it risks becoming a less dynamic and less equitable place. The vibrancy derived from a diverse population is diminished. Businesses, particularly small and medium-sized enterprises, find it increasingly difficult to sustain operations when employees cannot afford to live nearby. This leads to longer commutes and reduced workforce accessibility. It compromises the efficiency and vitality of the urban economy. Communities built over decades face dissolution as rising housing costs force longtime residents to relocate. This process of displacement disrupts social networks and cultural continuity. It transforms once vibrant neighborhoods into homogeneous, less accessible areas. Addressing Toronto's profound housing crisis necessitates a comprehensive and multifaceted approach. There is no singular, easy fix for a problem of this complexity and scale. It requires innovative and interconnected strategies across various sectors. Meaningful progress demands bold and decisive policy changes from all levels of government. These changes must challenge existing frameworks that have contributed to the current predicament. This includes re-evaluating restrictive zoning, taxation policies, and infrastructure investment. Furthermore, a commitment to innovative urban planning is essential to reshape how the city develops. This involves prioritizing density, sustainable growth, and diverse housing types in strategically chosen areas. It means moving beyond outdated planning paradigms. Crucially, there must be a robust and unwavering commitment to building significantly more affordable housing options. This includes both market rate and deeply subsidized units. It also encompasses a range of housing forms to meet diverse needs. Solving this complex problem will require sustained effort, political will, and collaborative action from all stakeholders. There are no easy answers, but acknowledging the challenge and committing to long-term solutions is the first step. The future of Toronto depends on finding viable pathways to affordability and equitable access to housing. Toronto's current housing market stands as a stark and sobering cautionary tale for other global cities grappling with similar pressures. Its trajectory illustrates how quickly a vibrant urban center can become unaffordable. It underscores the critical importance of proactive policy and sustainable development. The true cost of living in a city extends far beyond the mere price tag of a home or rental unit. It encompasses the economic, social, and psychological burdens imposed by systemic unaffordability. These impacts ripple through individual lives and the collective well-being of the city. Toronto's housing crisis is ultimately a reflection of societal choices and the values that have been prioritized, consciously or unconsciously. It reveals the consequences of unchecked market forces combined with insufficient regulatory foresight. It also highlights the outcomes of planning decisions that may inadvertently exclude large segments of the population. This raises a fundamental and urgent question for Toronto and for any growing metropolis. Can the city truly balance rapid economic growth and global appeal with the foundational imperative of affordability for all its residents? The answer to this question will determine Toronto's future character and its legacy as an inclusive, thriving urban environment.